Hey guys, so today bringing you another video. Now welcome to a new champion video. I love doing these. Obviously new champions kind of bring drama to League, but also excitement. A lot of new champions change up metas potentially quite often. So the brand new champion is going to be an AD mid laner. We're going to explain the abilities in this video. Also, I was involved, as I normally am, in the developer meeting. I was in it last week, and during those developer meetings, we are with the team that made this champion. So they explain to us what she does and the abilities. They talk through them, their concept, what previous versions may have been. But then also we have a Q&A. So I've actually got a bit more of an insight to this champion than just the abilities show. So I can answer questions like, she's an AD mid laner, but can she jungle? So we'll be talking about that after we talk about the abilities. But before anything, as a kind of happy, exciting thing, because the new champion's coming out, I like to do a giveaway launched with the champion. So if you want a chance to win Naafiri, the new champion, with her launch skin, which of me recording this, we don't know what that is, all you've got to do is be subscribed. So click subscribe, click like on the video, thumbs up, and comment down below what you think of the champion, and make sure in your comment to leave your summoner name and your server, and you'll get entered to the giveaway. So let's get into it. So very quickly, just to kind of explain the basic concept, this is the champion. So yeah, she's not a human. She's a dog, or should I say dogs. So she's kind of the pack leader, but she gets these kind of sidekicks that aid her in attacks and her abilities, as you'll see throughout her kit. Think of her almost a bit like an enhanced Elise. You know, the Dune dogs, I think they're called. They do a little bit more than the Spiderlings, but it's pretty similar. So that is the concept and kind of the idea. She's a Darkin. Obviously, Darkins are imbued weapons of ancient souls or something like that. And obviously, they normally take over a host. Naafiri, in her basic story, I believe, was buried in the Shuriman Desert for maybe hundreds or thousands of years. And she was just barren. Nothing was going on. And then she detected life nearby. And obviously, the Darkin Blades, they have a knack of kind of getting a host to come get them or pick them up or whatever it may be. But the life that was nearby was dune dogs in the desert. But obviously she couldn't be fussy, so she kind of willed the dune dogs to come over. The main one, I think, technically ate the Darkin Blade. And obviously the rest is history. She is now bound to the dune dogs, and that is why this champion exists. So let's go into the first ability, which will be her passive. And it's, before anything, I've just got to make it very clear. She's an AD mid laner by design. And she's a bit more basic than we've been used to for modern League of Legends champions. So much so that my kind of cheat sheet for her abilities that Riot sent me, most abilities have only one sentence as an explanation. That's it. And the most sentence that I've got for any one ability is realistically 2 sentences is the most I've got for one ability. It's not a lot. So compare that to any champions recently where the average ability has got 5 sentences to explain it. You can kind of tell this is a bit more of a bare bones basic champion, which again, I don't think is a bad thing. So let's get into the first one, which is a passive, which I believe, yes, is called We Are More. So as you can see, pretty basic passive. And all it is Naafiri spawns pack mates that attack the targets of her attacks and abilities. So that's all it is. There's nothing really more to it. If she attacks a target, if she lands abilities on a target, it's going to spawn pack mates, as you can see happening in the clip. I do believe, and this is like the kind of finer detail, I do believe she has a kind of limit to how many pack mates you can have out at any given time. But then another ability later on, I'll explain, can add to that kind of total amount. But that's her passive. Moving on to her Q, which is called Darkin Dagger. So as you can see, Darkin Dagger is a bit of a ranged ability for a melee AD assassin. Think of it similar, I guess, to Zed's Q. This is also the ability that you're most likely going to be maxing in lane. because it's actually a bit of your poke, and it makes that you can do a bit of damage without having to always go all in yourself. So this is Naafiri hurls up to 2 daggers. If the target is bleeding, this skill inflicts bonus damage and bonus bleeding. And then the interaction with her pack mates is the pack mates leap to the targets that have been hit by the daggers. So as you can see in this clip, she's hitting Aatrox and Varus because it does a penetrating, think of like Lux Q, that it hits 2 targets, one after the other. So the dog's pack mates are jumping on those targets and dealing damage. But again, you as Naafiri herself, you don't have to jump in. So this is where you're probably going to max this ability. Helps you, land, get some farm in lane if you're being a bit zoned out. If you can land it on the enemy mid laner, lets you poke them a bit with your pack mates. So, yeah, likely the ability that you're going to be maxing on this champion in lane phase. Now moving on to W, which is called Hound's Pursuit. So a little bit more of what I would say is a pure assassin ability. And obviously Riot, providing the clip that they have, are very much showing that this can go over terrain. So W is called Hound's Pursuit, which is Naafiri and her pack mates dash at an enemy, colliding with the first champion hit and dealing damage. Now, from memory in the dev video, dev meeting, we were given slightly different clips in that meeting. I believe it showed it was actually a skill shot in that meeting. And I think, again, it'll deal damage to things. And, if you land the W, if you don't land the W, I do think this is just a travel ability. So, most assassins have mobility, jump over walls, etc. This is basically Naafiri's, that if you land it, yeah, you're going to deal damage and you'll jump on something. But if you're not, if you need to escape from a situation, you can use W to jump over a wall. But obviously, if someone flashes in front of you, you're going to collide with that enemy champion and you're going to just jump on the enemy champion. You won't then jump over the wall. So it's kind of one of those standard assassin, mechanics. And obviously, yeah, she brings the difference, I guess, between Q and W is Q, you throw a blade, your pack mates jump to the target that's hit. Obviously, W, this is a bit more all in because you yourself as Naafiri, where, the actual health bar that matters, you're putting yourself at risk here because you are also traveling with this ability. And yes, it is worth mentioning that I say health bars. The pack mates do have health bars. They can die, again, similar to at least Spiderlings. I think, again, they have a little bit more resistance than just typical minions and stuff like that. But they can be killed. And I do believe AoE does kill them, but just maybe a bit slower than like purely a minion getting one shot. But let's move on to her E, which is Eviscerate. So that's her E. So this is Naafiri dashes and damages enemies in an area. So a bit of AoE here. And again, another dash, but then recalling and healing her pack mates to full. So I think it's potentially a 2-part. I will be honest, it's not fully... I don't know if you press E and then you can press E again to recall your pack mates. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't actually explain that to me. All it says is Naafiri dashes and damages enemies in an area, which we can see. Then Naafiri walks away. I'm guessing you can press E again, and she can then recall her pack mates to come back to her and healing them up to full. Because obviously you don't want your pack mates to die. There is a bit of management to try and keep them alive as much as possible. So I believe that's how that ability works. And I believe, again, the skill order that Riot said was, yes, you're going to obviously be maxing your ultimate whenever possible, then Q, then E, then W. I also forgot to mention during the W, even though you max it last, the W is very good in late game, as each rank, and obviously subject to change, each rank of W, which again, let me just quickly go back and show you, is this one, the one that goes over the wall. The range of that ability does go up per level. So yes, you max it last, but later into the game, you'll be able to travel further distances. But anyway, let's get into her ultimate finally, which is called the Call of the Pack. So as you can see, it's a bit more of an upgrade. At the beginning of the clip, she has 2, maybe 3 pack mates, and that during the ultimate, she has maybe 7 of them or so. So this is Naafiri empowers her pack and spawns additional pack mates, gaining a burst of speed and vision, and a shield when she attacks enemy champions. On the first champion takedown, all effects are refreshed. So that is a very assassin element. You know, think of like Katarina and stuff. When she gets kills or stuff, she can have resets. Naafiri has that element too, which is it's a very scary, you know, element. And all I will say during the dev meeting, when people asked what items synergize with her very well, obviously, yes, she's a standard AD kind of lethality assassin. The updated Duskblade Drakthar, the dev team did giggle a little bit in how well it's synergized with her, which does make me a little bit worried. I don't think Naafiri's kit is insane. I actually think it's very toned down compared to modern day champions, which is a good thing. But they did say the combination of Naafiri, her ultimate, and the new Duskblade is a very strong combo. Obviously, the new Duskblade, for those that aren't aware, whenever you get a kill, takedown, you at current point in time, maybe they'll get rid of it, but you cleanse any CC that you may have on you, because you become untargetable for a second or two. And obviously, with Naafiri, if you get a takedown in the middle of a team fight or something, you then get resets from your ultimate, but then you're also untargetable. So it's kind of like doubling down. Like you'll be able to then go straight away on somebody else while being untargetable briefly. So it's that is a very strong combo. But that is the champion. I've also got one more thing to show you before I just kind of tell you a couple more things about her. This is an Easter egg. I don't technically know if I'm supposed to show this or not, but I just think it's really exciting. There is a little feature to this champion that I think a lot of people would be sad if it didn't exist. Obviously, she is a dog, and the internet has an obsession with dogs. That if ever you see a dog on the internet and the owner or anybody around isn't petting that dog, people get angry. So yes, you can pet the dog. Now, here's the thing. I have no idea how you do this. Riot did not tell us, and they said it's a secret, and someone is going to have to find out how you do it. I have no idea. Good luck to you if you find it out. I'm sure it'll be a little fun adventure to try and find out. But that is the champion. Just a couple of things to say. Nothing major, because again, she's a pretty basic champion. There's not much to her. The biggest one that I think I'll get from people is, can she jungle? You know, there's a bunch of jungling elements to this champion. She can jump over walls. She's got increased movement speed for ganks and stuff. You know, could you equate her to a Talon or something like that? The answer, and I actually was the one that asked this question during the dev meeting, they said she can jungle, but she is primarily a mid lane assassin. But they basically equated her to Zed. Zed is a mid lane assassin, but you can jungle as Zed in modern day, but you primarily want to play him mid. Apparently, Naafiri is going to be basically the same. That let's say you become a Naafiri one trick, you'll probably play mid primary, jungle secondary, and that's kind of the idea. So yeah, she can do it, but she's, you know, it's not her strongest role. You know, they're not going to make her the strongest in jungle. So in essence, she's an AD mid laner. She's obviously one of the, not first, but one of their, in recent league, we've just had a lot of humanoid champions for years. Belveth still was a humanoid champion, and they kind of, I remember they were teasing that champion saying a monster was coming, but then she got released and it's another humanoid. So Riot in this dev meeting, I will say, we're actually quite proud that it's an actual monster. It's a dog. And then furthermore, all I was saying, again, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but the typical time it takes to make a champion from start to finish with Riot is usually, I think, 6 to 8 months. From memory in the dev meeting, someone asked that question. People normally do. This champion took a lot longer, even though her kit looks a lot more basic, which, again, it's quite basic. It's because Riot they couldn't decide what she'd be. I think at one stage of design that she was going to be multiple dogs at the same time, potentially like ice climbers in Smash, that you can, you know, control different people, or is it Smash, or what? There's a Dota character as well that you can control different characters at the same time. Like, potentially she was going to be that, but they changed it to be one main dog and then basically having minions around her that help her out. I think this is probably the better play style and better mechanic suited to League, personally. But yeah, it would have been interesting. But she looks, and you know, the way that I always think of new champions, I always equate them to other champions that I know. She kind of looks like she's got like a Vex W, you know, Vex's ult mechanic is in her W, but then she does have like Talon, quite a lot of Talon, I'd say, influences here, that she does bleeding, daggers are all going on. But then even Elise, you could say, you know, with the minions and stuff, there's a bit of that. So you can see a couple champions in Naafiri, but herself, yeah, she's unique. And all I will say to end out the video, obviously, let me know what you think of her. It feels, you know, I'm not saying this champion's not going to be overpowered. Assassins right now are very strong. You look at Rengar and Kha'Zix, they're still very, very good. Duskblade Drakthar probably needs to be nerfed. This champion may be really strong, but the good news is her actual kit doesn't seem broken. It's like, you look something like Zeri, they cannot get that champion right because of her kit. She's either broken one way or broken another way. They never can get her balanced. I think this champion's kit isn't that bad to balance. What's going to be hard to balance with this type of champion is because she's kind of so basic, it's going to be items that determine if she's overpowered or not. So if her items that she uses are very strong, the champion will be very strong. If the items are weak that she uses, she'll probably be quite weak. And the last thing I'll leave you on, when it comes to builds, they did say you're predominantly building AD Assassin, but you will probably dip your toe in some fighter items. So you'll probably dip your toe in like Black Cleaver, maybe a Death Stance and stuff like that. So you'll dip your toe in fighter items, but predominantly they'll be the AD Assassin items. But that's it. That is the new champion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please do again enter the giveaway. Let me know what you think. Like the video and all that good stuff. And please do subscribe. I will see you guys in the upcoming content. Adios, amigos. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime.